Hello my fellow fasting friends, it's Jackie and I am really excited. I have a special guest today. This is, wait, can you guess? Look at us. Do we look alike? This is my dad. And when I have my hair in a ponytail, I think I look like him. So maybe you think so too. And I'm really excited to bring him onto my channel because he has been fasting, how long?
Just a little over a year.
I went camping at his house in September of 2020. Yep. We talked about my new journey and I was very excited, and I think you hopped on board like 2 or 3 days later.
The very next day we jumped right in.
That is amazing. Yep. And have you looked back?
No, we haven't looked back. It's been a little over a year. I jumped in, we started at the 1 to 7. We did the 18-6. I remember thinking the day before, how am I ever going to do this? I had such a regiment schedule of eating, and I made it through the first couple days and it really got easier. I never drank coffee before that, but now I drink iced coffee and water, but it's been wonderful. Really, the journey has taken, I was very scared that I wouldn't be able to do it, and mentally it was harder to get used to than it was physically. I don't even think about food. It's not even an issue anymore. So it's been really good. But
when you do think about it, you get to thoroughly enjoy it, don't you?
Absolutely. I mean,
that's awesome.
Really, you know, that window worthy they talk about, you really want to make sure it's window worthy. I don't deny myself anything. If there's something I want to eat, I can enjoy it, plan on it, and I know that I don't, it's sustainable.
Yep. One thing that I always think you and I are very similar in is that we're both headstrong. We can make a decision to do something and we stick with it, but then once you're sick of it, it's over. Exactly. And so I can think of a number of times you packing salads for a long time, and I would do the same thing with Weight Watchers. I was on it, I'm going to lose the weight, and I'd lose the weight, but there's burnout. And that's one thing I've loved about fasting is I have never hit that point because I don't deprive myself, I don't limit myself.
Exactly.
And I get to enjoy food, and we both love food.
Yep.
And I know you've mentioned people still comment on your portions.
So they still do, yeah. And you know, the thing, like you said, I've been very successful at diets. I have been very successful. I know exactly what diet, what type of food will work for me, what kind of, but I cannot sustain it because I'm always thinking about, well, I can't eat this, or the first time that you eat something that's not in your plan, the guilt, and then it's almost like you just say, oh, the heck with it, I've been doing this for so long, I've lost 15 pounds, and you never gain only back 15 pounds,
yeah.
You gain 17 or 18, and that's been the disappointment, and then you just start over, and eventually you get back, okay, I'm gonna get back on this horse. It was never sustainable. There's no horse to get back on now.
Exactly. It's our lifestyle.
It's exactly right now. I'm OMAD, 1 meal a day, and it does not faze me at all. People are like, I could never do that. I could never do that. And I was like, actually, I said the exact same thing. Don't try to jump in. There are people who will do that. They'll jump right in, and they can go the 24 or the 1 meal, and that's great. I wouldn't recommend that. Try to go the 18-6 or the 16-8, go that step, and as you go, your body's going to get used to it before your mind does, because mentally we're so wrapped around our schedules and our food. That's the biggest ticket to get used to. So once you get physically, you're going to realize I can do this.
Yeah. And
then you realize, well, there was a day when I was busy, I didn't eat, and that was almost 18 hours, or it was 20 hours, and it's like I didn't starve, I didn't feel crave. And I still was able to work, still able to do my job. So I have more energy, I have more mental clarity at work.
Me too.
I'm just like a machine. I go in, I hear people talk about they want to get food, or I'm so hungry, they're delayed, they're going back to the break room. I don't have any of that issues. And I am not worried about it, or I gotta get 2 more hours. There have been 3 times since I've been doing the OMAD where my normal schedule would be 5 o'clock, and at 2 o'clock I was like, I'm hungry. Okay, so I ate. I had some
flexibility.
Stuff. Yep, I ate it, and it was not because I failed, it was because my body was telling me I need something. So I ate.
And when you're doing it long enough, you know the difference.
Absolutely.
You build the flexibility and the fasting muscle.
At one time, me and my wife, we went and had Chinese food. We love Chinese food. It did not go good. It did not. It was like, I don't want to have this. It was just, we did not enjoy it. The taste, it was so, you know, you start eliminating some of that stuff because it's just not as good.
And the cool thing is, even if you didn't plan to have lunch and you sit down and you're like, man, I want this, you know you're not ruining anything or that it's not allowed. You can partake if you want.
Exactly.
And that flexibility just really has a freedom to it that no diet does.
And that's part of that mental block that I talked about, that it takes longer mental, because there's a lot of, when you're dieting, if you go outside, like I said, that program you have, you feel like a failure. And this, you don't. You still, early on, you may think, oh, but then you got, no, I'm fine. Flexibility. I'm going to eat this now, and I'll have a longer fast, or tomorrow I'll go right back on schedule. You start realizing you're still getting all the benefits.
Right.
You're not, so mentally, it's been like losing that monkey off your back, because it's freeing.
You lose the decision fatigue. Can I have the calories for this? Am I going to fall off the wagon if I have that? The losing of the mental fatigue was something huge for me.
Oh, yeah. The last diet I did before I started intermittent fasting, a friend of mine, he'd lost a lot of weight, been really successful. You counted the calories. So I did that, and I was very successful. And again, like you said, we were headstrong. I'm going to do this. I did it. I counted the calories every morning. I was getting up, I was weighing my food. But that fatigue, like you just mentioned, it just, I don't want to do this. I didn't get enough sleep last night. I think this is going to be, and then next thing you know, and you lose sight of it, and you just can't sustain it.
And then you can't try new recipes. You can't go to a party without stressing about it. You can't. The flexibility just isn't there that you have with fasting.
Exactly. Yep. And there's, today I came here to visit my daughter and my grandkids and her husband. It was 3 birthdays. We had birthday cake. I had 2 pieces of birthday cake, and I don't feel bad. But it was, we enjoyed it, and I was able to have family and sit together and laugh, and I wasn't thinking about food or I'm such a, I failed this time. Yep. I didn't fail. I adjusted. Yep.
And you had your eating window and whatever you choose in it. Yep. And at the end, we're going to share before and afters, because you've had a really nice transformation, and we'll share some stats with that. But I came up with some rapid fire questions that he doesn't know about.
Okay.
Okay. What is your longest fast?
My longest fast since I've been fasting is 36 hours.
Do you diet at all within your eating window?
No, I don't diet. What I do, because one thing that I found since I started really having small eating windows, is that I can definitely pick out some of the stuff that I don't like, that isn't good for my body, as far as I just don't feel good. One of my favorite snacks was like milk and cookies, and I'm like, hey, I'm in my window, I'm going to have some milk and cookies. Every time I had that, I woke up, I would have, not sick, but it just felt in my stomach, it just eliminated the milk. I don't have that, so. And
there's a huge difference between telling yourself you can't have milk and cookies or deciding you don't want milk and cookies because you don't feel good.
Absolutely. Because I still will have some milk and cookies. Sometimes I'm just saying, I'm making the decision, I know my stomach's going to pay for this, but it really sounds good. I'm going to have a little bit, and that's okay. And the next morning, I feel that same way. So then it goes a longer time, I'll let it go. I
do the same thing. I don't have anything that I restrict, but the thing that pops in my head when I think of this is oatmeal cookies or oatmeal cream pies. I've always loved those. If they were around, I'd want them, but I never want them anymore because it's just never, it just doesn't sound good. It sounds almost too processed, and it's not because I'm thinking, oh, it's not good enough for me. It's just never something I choose. And I think the longer I fast, the more that my body and my choices are changing naturally, but not because I can't. What is your favorite food to open your window with?
I love meat, so whenever, I like having a steak. A lot of times on the weekends I grill, I'll have a steak with some shrimp, but I eat what I like, and meat, I'm very much a meat eater, so I'll have a lot of meat.
He eats the meat?
I eat the meat.
Okay, very cool.
Nuts, I have a lot of pistachios. We usually go through about 2 pounds a week.
Hey, that's a good thing to eat. I think that the nuts might bring me, based on something we talked about earlier, what's your favorite way to close your window?
Chocolate covered almonds, coconut from Aldi's.
Oh, Aldi, look at that, I'm so proud. If you don't know, I have another channel called The Aldi Addict.
Oh, all the energy, yeah. She has a lot of similarities to her dad.
Yeah. Okay, so with all the fasting you've done and the changes you've made, do you have any further goals you're hoping to hit?
Yes. I still want to get down. For me, this is a mental thing. I want to get down below 200. I don't know what I'll look like there. I've lost, went from a size 44 pants down to a 38, some 36s.
Awesome.
So once I get to that point, below 200, I'm going to reevaluate where I'm at. I know I will not do anything more than a 20 to 4 hour window.
Yeah.
So I may do like a snack before or meal, but I want to get to under 200 pounds and then kind of see where I'm at.
Yeah.
So.
That's awesome. Do you care if we say how old you are?
No, I'm 56 years old. I'll be 57 in January, and very proud of that.
Don't be shocked that he's that young, despite all my gray hairs. That was a big laugh. That was all my questions. Is there anything else you want to share?
And you can't start for a week and say, oh, I didn't lose any weight. It's not working for me. I bet you, I think in my first 6 months, I gained 3 pounds. I had been working out before, I was doing workout. I gained like 3 pounds. But, I remember Kim saying, well, it's not working for you. I'm like, it is, because I'm wearing different pants. I mean, my shirts are just too big. And she's like, well, that's true. So my body was composition, so I was wearing different clothes, but the weight wasn't necessarily coming off. And then when I went to the OMAD, because I was working my way there, then it started dropping off like crazy. So.
I think that's great advice that you gave, and you kind of peppered it in, that you don't have to start all in. You can learn to fast, adapt physically, mentally, and then you can find your sweet spot and find what works for you. And both of us, we like larger portions. We like the 1 meal a day, because if I had a 2 meal a day plan, I would eat 2 very large meals still. I look forward to my meals. I eat with a gusto. I like to have it, and if I have the boundaries of the time, it really works for me, because then I just enjoy.
Yep.
And I think that the longer you fast, the more you can find what works for you, what doesn't work for you. But you don't have to discover it all your first week. You don't have to see the benefits, find your perfect plan, and know everything's going to work out. You can slowly build up your fasting muscle.
Yeah, you won't find anything out in the first week. If anything, you're going to think, well, I found out I can't do that, because it's not going to be the easiest thing as far as jumping right in, because again, that mental. And make sure you also do clean fast. There's a lot of people who fast and say, oh, it didn't work, but then you start, well, what did you do? Well, I had cream in my coffee, or
Diet Coke.
Diet Coke, or I was a big diet fan, and I just, Diet Coke. Well, that didn't work. So putting lemon in your water, stuff like that, you're still not getting the benefits of the clean fast. The clean fast is definitely important. So you have to, if you're going to do this, give it a month at the very least, and then see how you feel. Try to stay away from the scale as much as you can, but see how you feel. So,
and now we're going to see some before and after pictures where you can visually see my dad's journey. We'll put some stats up there, and we'll do that now. If you want to see a visual representation of my journey from the very beginning, you can check out this video right here. Thank you so much for watching. Ciao down and ciao. Yay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I'll send you the stats and stuff.
Perfect.
Pictures.